Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite anime, Claymore. Before we begin, I will tell you what this anime is about. The Claymore anime was created in 2007, but it was based on the manga by Norihiro Yagi, set in a bleak medieval world where humanity lives in constant fear of monstrous creatures called Yoma. These beings disguise themselves as humans and secretly prey on villages, creating a climate of paranoia and helplessness. Ordinary humans are largely incapable of defending themselves against the Yoma. To combat this threat, a mysterious organization creates hybrid warriors known as Claymores, women who are surgically infused with Yoma flesh, granting them superhuman strength, speed, and the ability to sense demonic energy. Visually and tonally, Claymore stands apart from many fantasy anime. The world is bleak, desaturated, and often oppressive. Villages are small and isolated, landscapes are barren, and the constant presence of death gives the series a somber atmosphere. The action sequences emphasize speed, swordsmanship, and supernatural strength, but they are framed within a brutal reality where even the strongest characters can die suddenly. Violence in the series is not stylized for spectacle alone. It reinforces the dangerous world the characters inhabit. Claire is one of the rarest types of female protagonists because her psychology is built around emotional austerity rather than emotional expression. Most female leads in fiction, even in dark or serious stories, are written to function as emotional centers. They express empathy openly, build relationships quickly, and often serve as the emotional bridge between other characters. Their warmth is part of how the audience connects with them. Claire operates almost entirely outside of that framework. Her personality is defined not by emotional openness, but by containment, distance, and restraint. One of the most striking aspects of Claire's character is her coldness, but it is important to understand that her coldness is not cruelty or arrogance. It is closer to a kind of emotional compression. Claire feels deeply, but she does not display those feelings in conventional ways. This creates a protagonist who is psychologically unusual. Claire is separated from ego in a way most characters are not. Many protagonists, even heroic ones, are driven by pride, recognition, personal victory, or the desire to prove themselves. Claire shows very little of this. She does not seek admiration from other Claymores, nor does she care about rank or prestige within the organization. Even her battles are not expressions of pride. She fights simply because her path requires it. Her sense of self is almost detached from the usual markers of identity. This lack of ego is extremely rare in protagonists, especially female ones. Stories frequently rely on ego as a motivating force because it creates visible conflict and emotional drama. Claire's motivation is far quieter and more existential. She is not trying to prove anything to anyone. Her emotional coldness is also reinforced by the nature of the Claymores themselves. They exist in a constant state of tension because using their power risks awakening into monsters. Emotional extremes can push them closer to losing control. As a result, Claymores often develop a form of emotional discipline, suppressing intense darkness in order to maintain their humanity. Claire takes this discipline further than most. Her personality becomes almost monk-like in its restraint. She moves through situations with a calm, minimal presence, speaking only when necessary and rarely reacting with visible emotion. Another reason Claire feels so different from most female protagonists is that the narrative never tries to soften her. Many stories would gradually reshape a character like Claire into someone more emotionally expressive or relational. Claire does form connections, particularly with Rocky and other Claymores, but those relationships never transform her fundamental nature. Her warmth remains extremely limited and private. The story allows her to remain emotionally reserved without framing it as a flaw that must be corrected. This creates a type of female character that is rarely explored, a woman who embodies austere resolve rather than emotional radiance. Claire's presence is quiet. She does not seek attention or affection, and she rarely speaks about her own feelings. Her strength comes from endurance rather than charisma. She is defined by her ability to continue walking a painful path without demanding recognition or comfort from others. Despite her cold exterior, Claire is not emotionally empty. She demonstrates loyalty and compassion toward other Claymores and eventually toward Rocky, the human boy who travels with her. What makes this compassion unusual is that it exists without softening her core purpose. Many stories would force a character like Claire to abandon revenge in favor of relationships or emotional healing. Claire, instead, carries both. She forms bonds, but they never replace her mission.